and gentlemen, welcome to the Lehigh Valley Tea Party. We're going to turn this over to our MC, Mr. Jim Rush. If you could give him your attention, please.
Thank you very much. Now, as Andrew said, little introduction myself. My name is Jim Rush. I'm on the executive board of the Lehigh Valley Tea Party. And a little bit of background. 61 years ago, I played baseball for the Navy. I was part of the astronaut training program. And I have had some SEAL training. So anyone that cannot respect my wishes and be quiet and shut off your phone, I have my friend James Jones in the audience to back me up. Right, James? Attaboy. All right, first thing I want to do, no, wait a minute. I'm going to turn that around so you can get a good view of number 47.
All rise, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for all that are gathered here this evening, for our guest speakers who traveled long and far to be here with us, for all our candidates who are trying to make America great again here locally, here in the Lehigh Valley, for Senator Durr as he runs for re-election, that he may win that big time in New Jersey. And we ask you, Lord, for forgiveness for the times that we have fallen short. We ask you, God, for vision, strength, and tenacity. And we're going to read the next prayer together. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Amen. Pledge of Allegiance.
To the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and now our singer, Carol.
I don't know if I can mention this or not, but as far as my CD is concerned, I'm all out of them except a couple, and I will be reordering. But I feel honored tonight to be able to sing the national anthem for you. Thank you for having me. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, our opening remarks will be short and simple. We're going to go to the next slide. First of all, we thank all of you for being here this evening. And just so you know, the Lehigh Valley Tea Party did not forget 9/11. And as far as 9/11 goes, folks, it's incredible that that people forget Pearl Harbor, December 7th. But more recently, they forget 9/11. Imagine how many years ago that was, and people forget that. What a tragedy. It's very sad. So we thank each and every one of you, and if we can have a moment of silence to remember those who perished and gave their lives fighting for freedom. God bless America. Okay, as you see up there, the Lehigh Valley Tea Party policy is you are not permitted to put any types of flyers or advertisements or camping in this room without approval from the board. If you have any questions or concerns, see me. But if we do find out that you're putting any type of distribution or selling anything because of our bylaws, we will ask you to leave the premises. Okay? Thank you for that so much. All right, so our membership and treasury reports. Total members, we have 7,215 regular and associate members. Our bank balance is currently $59,811.98, and we have a credit line, available funds, $10,000. Pretty good, huh, folks? But as Tom Campione says, we need to either be a fighter or fund a fighter, so we will talk later about how we're going to try to put some more money in the till.
Okay, in the back, we've been putting together a booklet or a list of patriot-minded businesses. Businesses that think like we do, and if you know of any patriot-minded business that thinks like we do, have them get in touch with us. We have Mel Gallagher in the back, Mel, that has several of the booklets together, and stop back at the break and see her. If you have a name or a business, let her know. Alrighty. Do we have any first-time attendees in the crowd tonight?
Stand up and be recognized, please.
Stand up. First-time attendees. All right, congratulations. Also, we have Mom and Tom in the back selling the 50-50 raffle tickets, and that will be drawn at the end of the meeting. There will be one winner, so stop back at the break and see them and pick up your raffle tickets.
Only 11 tickets left.
11 tickets left. We're going to do that drawing tonight.
Mel didn't need a microphone.
All right, our next one here. This is our location right here. This is the Fearless Fire Company, and we have a good working relationship with them. Many of our board members and many of you are members of the Fearless Fire Company. So we are selling tonight. Emily's in the back, waving at you. We are selling those tickets 3 for $5, and we have a special tonight. We are selling 9 for $15 for the new raffle tickets. That's a Philly special for my Philly table over here. Now the main thing is if you've never been to the party, so what they do is they have a party before Thanksgiving, and we are like the faces here. They give us usually about 4 to 6 tables, so it's a dance. They have liquor baskets, so it's fun. The way you can attend the party and you eat for free is you have to have one of those tickets. And we usually have, again, 50 prizes. We usually win about 20 to 30 of those prizes. So they go, tea party again. So please buy those tickets tonight. All right. Slow those down. All right. That's all right. So the next one is important. We are going to be doing our mailing very shortly. This is our Guns and Goodies raffle, or we could call it our Sweet 16. How many of you are Second Amendment people out there?
Oh, yeah.
How many of you would like to have maybe an additional handgun, or if you don't have a handgun, you'd like to have a handgun? So, we are working this time with Boyer Hardware, and I asked them what are their top 6 guns. Tom's going to keep advancing. These are their top 6 selling guns. As you see, we have a couple of blocks there. We have a Smith & Wesson Equalizer. For those of you who have problems racking the slide, very easy to rack the slide. 6 hour, P365, optic ready. That's my choice right there. And a Springfield Hellcat. So this is a major fundraiser. We have to do well with this. If you would like to be a seller, we'll give you see me during the break, and I will set you up as a seller. Tom's going to advance the slide here. So in addition to the guns, we've sweetened the pot. He's going to keep advancing them. We have a Donald J. Trump autographed hat. That's priceless. Boyer Hardware, $100. Lehigh Valley Sporting Clays. You go out there, shoot some clays. 2 rounds there. Let's see what else we have. Anson belt and buckle. That's what I wear. It holds your belt nice in place. So it's a box set over there. Orchard Steakhouse. How many went to the Orchard Steakhouse? She was here last time. Okay, so she gave us a $75 ticket going forward. Biagio Restaurant, we have a $50 gift card. Farm and Table, members of the Tea Party, $50 gift card. Going forward, Biagio, another $50 gift card. Pizza Chef, that's where we have some of our meetings, $50 gift card. And Don Juan Mexican Grill, that was the gentleman that was here last month, $25 gift card. And that's how the card looks. If you want to get those tickets, see Jackie and Doreen in the back. Look at those security girls back there. They have those tickets. Again, they're on sale 1 for $20 or 5 for $100. That's your special tonight. Happy birthday, board members. Mary Ann Morellas. Oh, you can just look at those. Those are our board members. Give them a round of applause. Anyone else celebrating a birthday? Happy birthday. Jim, go ahead.
He has to keep you on the ball. I'm approaching 81, so if I slow down a little bit, it's...
Well, stop slowing down. Get to it.
Stop slowing down, okay, no faster. Over on the side, if you do not have any cash or enough cash to purchase anything tonight, you can see that over on the side, and you can buy a chip that you can use as cash. Andrew, you're up.
All right, and this is my fundraiser to take my scouts to West Point. We have in the back Joe Calantoni. He's filling our fresh-filled cannolis. We have a new cannoli shell we're trying out from a bakery in New York City, and we have our crumb cakes and brownies. And this is why the gentlemen come out. Why they come out to have that crumb cake and cannoli, because you don't let them have it at home. So.
My turn. All right, in the back of the room, we have some special merchandise on the tables back there. I kind of like the bottles of honey that kind of look like Mr. Trump. And honey does not expire. You can use that forever. We have rally flags, we have t-shirts, seat cushions, hats. If you want to check out the merchandise on the break, you can stop back there and see what we have set up.
Quiet, please, quiet.
We also have strudels. Correct, Melissa?
Yes, if you ordered it, it's time to pick that up. See Melissa in the back. Right for Life Committee, stage left. That's to Jim's. If you're looking at Jim to the right, we are going to we're going to attend the P8 March for Life. That's a bus trip. It'll be out of the Bethlehem area. If you would like to attend, see me at the break. It's $15. Then we have the Celebrate for Life banquet. We're going to move forward to the flyer. So the Pennsylvania, if you want to take a picture of that, there on the left is the March for Life in Pennsylvania in Harrisburg. To the right is the banquet. We've been attending that the last few months. Also, real quick there, U.S. Wall Shield. If you are a firearm owner, you need to be protected. If you ever have to use your handgun, your shotgun, whatever it might be, you're going to need a lawyer, even if it happens in your house. Or if you just get in a fist fight, this will cover you for under, I believe, $150. If you have any questions or would like to join, see me. Also, they give us a stipend for becoming a member, and you get 2 extra months. So instead of getting 12 months, you get 14 months of coverage. Valerie Ferguson mentioned to me that unfortunately due to the weather and her long distance drive, she will not be able to make it tonight. If you do have any items to get to Valerie, see Joe over here in the corner.
Joe?
So if you have any items to donate, give it to Joe. And look who's here, folks. Campione!
Thank you, everyone. It's good to be back.
Yeah.
I had 10 minutes. I'm going to try to work through this quickly.
Cut you off.
So I'm here to introduce our door hanger project for the fall of 2023. And there are a couple of samples on your tables. If you received our emails, you got an email from us on this, and if you did not, you can go to our website. I'll show you how to get to it. There's a full description of what the program involves. Here's the beginning. The beginning of the story is that recently we've added some capability to our membership system. From the start, if you provided us with a valid street address, our system's been able to determine your congressional district, your Pennsylvania State Senate district, and your Pennsylvania State House district. What's new is that now we can automatically determine your school district and your local voting district. That's your precinct, right? It says multiple benefits for us. For example, in the future, if we need somebody to fill a school board seat, we can now do a simple search of our membership for all members in a given school district, for example, and see if we can identify somebody who might be willing to run for that school board seat. In addition to that, it allows all of us to participate in this door hanger project. I'm going to demonstrate what's going to happen with the door hangers. But first, it's important to know that the premise of this project is that because of recent election losses, many Republicans have simply decided not to vote. They've given up. I don't know about you folks and your friends, but I know a lot of Republicans who have said, what's the point? We're going to get, with all the cheating going on, what's the point? And the problem with that is, if we don't vote, we give our opposition a win. That's the message of these door hangers. On the one side, there's a picture of a fighter, and it says, no quit, never, never. And on the back, it says that, it tells people that if, in fact, you don't vote, you're handing our opposition a win. The thing is, if Republicans turn out to vote at a higher than normal rate, we're still not guaranteed a win. However, if we turn out at a lower than normal rate, we're guaranteed a loss. So we need to get every Republican out to vote, and that is what this door hanger project is designed to do. In the geographic area that the Lehigh Valley Tea Party covers, there are roughly 150,000 households that need to hear that they need to vote. If 1,500 of our 7,200 members place 100 hangers each, we've covered everybody. Now, that's probably an unrealistic expectation, but the point is that we need our membership to get out there and simply hang door hangers. On what doors? Well, let's take a look. So, at this point, if Andrew, you could switch us over and to input number 2. Are you on 2? There we go. Okay, so this is a live presentation. We're connected to the internet. Lehigh Valley Tea Party's website, lvtp.org. If you are a member, whether you're a paid regular member or an associate member, you are in our system. And to get the list of addresses that we need you to place these door hangers on, you're going to sign into your membership system, into our membership system. By the way, there are packs of these door hangers at check-in. So if you decide to do this, and we're hoping that you will, please do pick up a pack of these door hangers. Okay, how do you do this? You're going to sign into your membership account. Most people here have no idea that they even have a membership account, but if you go to lbtp.org, and I'm sorry to these folks here, if you forgive my back, I'm trying to do this from the side. If you go to the Lehigh Valley Tea Party's website, click membership. You can do this on your phone as well. Member login. I'm going to sign in with a test account. Maybe. There we go. Okay, well, you won't have to do this. This is
Write down this PIN number, folks.
once you're signed in, and the system you notice asks for my email address and a password. If you don't know your password, there was a button below that said reset my password. Just click that and it will send your a temporary password to your cell phone. And if what you gave us is a landline and not a cell phone, it will actually call you and read you your password. Okay, so I'm signed into my test membership account. The name that's used is testing. When you sign in, obviously it's going to be your name up there. But you see there are a number of blocks of information and things that I can do. My membership status, my contact information. What is important is that my street address is shown. Why? Because, and I'm just going to jump down to the block below. And maybe the podium is blocking some of your view. But this block shows what my voting districts are. It says that I am in Congressional District 7. My state Senate district is 18. My House district is 139. My precinct is Hellertown Borough's 2nd Ward, and my school district is the Saucon Valley District. This is important, the fact that the system has my precinct. If I go up to door hangers, the system gives me a list of all the addresses in my precinct that need to get one of these door hangers. And each of you has a membership account, so each of you can do this and get a list of all the addresses. Now, you can do this on your phone, or you can do it on your computer. If you're using your computer to do it, what you might want to do is print this page, walk around, hang door hangers at your leisure. Yet, if you're out for a walk in your neighborhood, grab some door hangers and place them on these doors. Please only place them on these doors, and do not place them in mailboxes. It's really unlawful to place any materials in anyone's mailbox. They're designed to hang on a door. Do that. Once you hang a hanger, all you have to do, and this is going to happen quickly, I'm going to click done on the first address, and it's gone. If you can't find an address, click map, and I'll give you a map with a pin. Back to the address list, and if the address does not exist at all, the database is not perfect, so if it doesn't exist at all, you can click bad, and it'll just, again, you'll get rid of it. So you're probably not the only person in your precinct. We might have 3, 4, 5 members in a given precinct. And so you may not be the only person working on this particular list. If, for example, you don't want to work on this list because you work somewhere else in the Lehigh Valley, and actually what we've got covered here is all of Northampton County, all of Lehigh County, all of Bucks County, all of Berks County, all of Carbon County, and all of Monroe County. So, if let's say you live in somewhere in Easton but work in Allentown and you want to knock on doors there, just click this link up on top that says change or select precinct, and it'll take you to a list. Let's say rather than Allentown, I want to do Nazareth. NAZ, and it gives me precincts in Nazareth, Quakertown, whatever. That's really all there is to it. I'll be around during the break. If you have questions, please catch me. And if we could switch back to computer 1, and we should be on the slide that says demonstration. So what I'll say is, in wrapping up, is this. A lot of folks over the years have stated to me things like, hey, what can I do to help save our country? Well, the bottom line is, if we don't get Republicans out to vote, we will definitely lose it. It's up to us. We've got to get everybody out to vote. It really is up to us. And why us in the Lehigh Valley Tea Party? Because we're winners. We really are. And we need to lead the rest of the state. With that, I'd like to close with one last slide. It's going to take a second to come up. We really are. We're champions. We have to lead the state.
Thank you, Tom Campion. All right, this time I'd like to recognize our first speaker, who comes in from New Jersey. And I'm sorry, fans, but I'm from New Jersey. And if I could spend $350 to win a school board seat, I would certainly love to do that. Now, I'd like to introduce our speaker, Edward Durr. Edward?
All right. Let's first get one story straight. It wasn't $353. It wasn't $153. It wasn't $50. It was about $10,000, which is still a very far cry from my opponent. My opponent spent $2.5 million. So any math whiz, figure that out. That's $250 to 1. That's outstanding. But see, it wasn't me who did this. You know, we had a grassroots effort. You know, obviously, you know, this was kind of new for me. I'm not a career politician. I don't do this. I've never been elected to any office prior to this. You know, I did run for a couple of seats prior, but you know, I thought my shot was done and over with. And then my county chairwoman, she calls me up one day and says, "Hey, listen, we got our seats filled except for one. We'd like you to run it for Senate against Steve Sweeney." Steve Sweeney, you know, this is a 20-year veteran of the Senate president for 12 years. Actually, his last race was $17 million spent to win. I ain't got $17 million. But I said, why not? Let's have fun. So I decided, you know, I'm going to take it on. And that's when I started reaching out to people. You know, I said, hey, I can't do this alone. And that's one thing I hope everybody understands. You cannot do this alone. You need people. I have good people. I have Tina. You know, Tina was the first one who called me up and said, you can do this. I will be here. I will help you. You can do this. So, I figured, why not? If she believes, I can get a few others to believe. That's what I did. I called some friends. You know, they said no. But then I called strangers who actually, you know, cared about the state. Ones who didn't even live in the district I was running in. They came from outside the district and they walked with me every Saturday. They were there and they walked. You know, and we hit 25,000 doors in our district. I don't know if anybody here has ever walked, but 25,000 doors is a lot. Puts a little wear on your shoes. Actually, 3 pair for me. You know, so that was a very interesting time. But, you know, I got the feeling right after the primary. And luckily, I went into a primary that I wasn't challenged. So I was able to set my sights on the general election. Now, my opponent decided, you know, he's got money to spend. So he went out there and started running commercials in August. August? Who runs commercials in August against a candidate that nobody knows about? You know what his problem was? He made people know me. They all learned who I was. So I actually need to send him an invoice for an in-kind donation because he basically helped me. So, but we were very fortunate. You know, I had Tina's husband, Nick, come out, and he was a candidate also. You know, and there were days where I didn't want to go out and knock because I was just like, I don't know, this just seems like an uphill battle. What's the point? Nobody's going to come out and vote, you know, because we have apathy in our voting. People, they refuse to come out and vote because they're like, I don't trust the elections. You know, they're rigged. You know what? They might be rigged. They might be cheating going on. But you know what? You know what vote doesn't count? The one you don't cast. So you have to come out and vote. And let the chips fall where they may. I can't promise you that you're going to win, but at least you try. Now, moving forward, we were fortunate to have that victory. And I had that feeling, and I knew we were going to win. So we assembled a nice group of people. Now, it was unfortunate that the person I ran with decided she would serve as a better senator than I did. So this past June, she decided she was going to primary me. Now that cost me $100,000. Not 10, $100,000 to defeat her. But we crushed her. 2-1. We beat her 65 to 35%. That's huge. But it cost us. And that's the thing is, it was $100,000 I didn't need to spend. It was $100,000 of all my supporters' money that was wasted on something that should have never happened. Now, I don't have an issue with when there should be a primary. There definitely should be primaries at times. But when you take a seat for the first time in 20 years, and I don't think I committed no sin that caused me to need to be taken out. So I think it was wasted energy. All it did was harm the party because it created a rift in the party. And that makes people want to not come. Because in 21, we had possibly a new governor in Jack Ciattarelli, but 75,000 people said, "Nah, I'm not voting." In Bergen County, just in Bergen County alone, said, "Nah, I'm not voting." Jack lost by 70,000 votes. Think about that. So, you can't stay home. You can't let your friends stay home. And I mean, you cannot. You need to go out there and make them go and campaign and work. Now, we're going to continue to work this year. We have a good team going on. We won the primary. We're moving forward. And I believe we're going to have victory. Because they're going to outspend it. And they've already said, Norcross, George Norcross, I don't know how many of you know who George Norcross is. He's a banger, he has millions and millions of dollars, and he doesn't care, and he just throws it away like it's nothing. But he's going to spend that money. But I ain't worried about the money he spends. I'm worried about what we have to do. Now, we're going to have to raise money because we're going to have to fight back. So I'm going to go out there and I'm going to make calls and I'm going to ask people for money. I hate it. It's, besides this, standing here in front of you and talking, something I hate with a passion. I'm sorry. This is not for me. I will come to your table and I will talk and I will run a conversation. Basically, you tell me to go home because I talked your ear off. But standing here, this is not for me. I don't like this, but when I come to your door and I knock, oh yeah, I like that. I like meeting the people at their house, finding out what their issues are. We were out yesterday in 95-degree heat. Tom and I and Jake, we went out and we knocked. And it was just, it's uplifting when you knock on a door and you hear somebody go and say, "Oh, I know who you are. You're that trucker guy." Everybody knows me as Ed Trucker. And they kind of say, "Well, you got to be more senatorial." I said, "No, I'm a truck driver. I'm a truck driver. I've been a truck driver for 30 years. Got 3 million miles. I'm proud of those 3 million miles." So, I'm not running from who I am. I'm not your lawyer, your doctor, and I don't care. It doesn't make me any less of a person than they are. And I have the right to be there. Because I'm there for you, the people, not for me. Because I'll be honest with you, I made a good living as a truck driver, and I was doing just fine. I had my house, I had my living, I had my free time, and I was fine. But I wasn't happy with what I saw going on with the people. It bothered me greatly. My kids are grown and raised, they're out of the house, but I have grandkids. And I'm worried about my grandkids. The school issue is an important issue. Do not let them make you think that this isn't important. You as a parent have every right to have a say. Because they want you to shut up and be quiet and just sit down and ignore things. But no, you need to speak up and be heard. And I'm going to tell you right now, my friend Ethel told me, oh, well, she's running for school board. Well, you know that, I personally think that's more important than me. That is definitely more important, because that is getting to the beginning of where you educate the children. That's where we make the fight come back. You got to get into the schools. You got to make sure that they're educated properly, that they're brought up well. Because once they're already out of college and you're talking to them when they're 25, 30, they've already made up their minds. They've already been indoctrinated. They've been brainwashed. You have to get to them at a young age. Because the Democrats know that. Why do you think they're doing it? They know it. They are going after your kids. So, and hey, that's amazing. I've already spoken 10 minutes, and that's something I've never done in my life. I think I'm going to try for the whole 15. Can I go for 15 or more? It's just, yeah, Jersey, Jersey. I'm the real Jersey. I'm South Jersey.
Oh, wait a minute.
I'm sorry. This, Jersey Shore stuff, that's a bunch of crap. I'm South Jersey. And by the way, folks, I don't know who heard recently, we just passed legislation that there's a Central Jersey. Nah. I voted no. I was the only no. Out of 40 senators, I was the only no. I 195 is our cut, North and South Jersey, and South Jersey is the real people. I'm sorry. I love you, but South Jersey is the real people. All right. Sussex and Warren, I can give a little love to Sussex and Warren. Yeah, good people in Sussex and Warren. I got good friends. David up in Warren. I got good friends. Doug Steinhardt.
Yes.
Absolutely. Good guy. Yes, Eric. Good guy. But, so, I just want to reiterate that it is not about one person. This is about the movement in itself. Everybody says, oh, you give that trucker guy, Ed the trucker. I keep trying to tell everybody, it's not about me, Ed the trucker. It's about the fact that somebody come up and said, hey, you're my hero. And that's great. I don't want to take anything away from how you feel. I don't like the word hero for me personally. I never served in the military. I think you need to honor our military, our first responders. They are heroes. Everything. That is who I believe is heroes. Me, I'm an elected representative. I hate the word politician until it becomes a good word again. Because right now they've turned it into a dirty word. They've ruined it. They've made it corrupt and dirty. So I don't want to be called a politician. I'm an elected representative for you, the people. But, with that, it's not about me. It's about the movement in itself. It's greater than one person. We need to fight back and take back our country. Take back our state. Take back our schools and our town. You've got to start somewhere. You might say, oh, it's too great. Well, if you just sit down and do nothing, then yeah, it's too much. So go and do something. And the things you can do, it's not on doors. Do the door hangers. Fill a bag. Fill the lid. Make a phone call. And one of the things I'm going to ask, write a check. Because it's going to cost me a lot of money. So I need a check. So I want to point out one thing. I heard that you're going to have selling for clays and stuff. By the way, I'm having a clay fundraiser, clay shoot, in October 18th. So if anybody's interested, see my chief. Because we'd love to have you there, because I do suck at shooting clays. But it's not about that. I just like firing the gun. With that, I want to thank everybody for coming out and having me here tonight. And, I'll be around, and once again, boom, get your friends in here. So, thank you. And look at that, 14 years.
Senator Jordan, thank you very much. I'm glad he clarified a couple of remarks there because I thought I was from the bad part of New Jersey. All right, this time, I'd like to introduce our next speaker. She has a lot of good words to say, and I would like to introduce Ethel Hermanow. Ethel? Oh, I love this song.
Ready to dance? I'm Irish and I dance. Anyway, so my name is Ethel Hermanow, and I am the project director for South Jersey Outreach for LifeNet. LifeNet exists to attain, if you go to the next slide, guys. LifeNet exists to attain equal rights for babies in the womb through education, advocacy, and networking. LifeNet promotes a sexual integrity message as a solution to the abortion problem. First, before I get started, I need to tell you that I am a wretch that got saved years ago. I was a very bad alcoholic that got saved, and I've been sober for 29 years. Years later, God would call me with dreams to stand up for life, because I had had abortions, and God started dealing with me for that sin of abortion. Next slide. And I have to give all the glory to Christ Jesus, my King, because I believe He is in charge of my future, I believe He's in charge of your future, and I believe He's in charge of the future of this nation. It begins with life. Oh, can you go back to where the baby was? Thank you. It begins with life, and it ends with life. And if we cannot protect the most innocent, the most vulnerable, the most marginalized, the voiceless, we cannot protect ourselves. We cannot protect our children. Over 68 million babies have been aborted since Roe versus Wade, if you didn't know that. We have wiped out generations of our children, generations of our children's children. There are 195 countries in this world, and only 7 of them do late-term abortions. America, the land of the free and the brave, is right up there with China and North Korea, who do have the worst human rights violations in the world. This is a human rights crisis. If you think this isn't what's going to win elections, I'm going to tell you you're wrong. But if you think the government can tell you how to feel, what to eat, to take a vaccine, to wear a mask, to hate Donald Trump, whatever they want to tell you to do today, then maybe you're right. But if you want to stand up for moral principles, for God, and your God-fearing people, then it is time to make a stand. It is way past time to make a stand. We just did a poll in New Jersey. Most New Jerseyans, they don't agree with late-term abortion. Over 70% think that minors should get abortions without parental rights. In New Jersey, we have a governor who thinks he's a king. I call him King Herod. Governor Murphy. As he is the most aggressive in abortion. Women can get abortions, no insurance, no problem. We'll pay for it on our tax dollar money. Come out of state, we're a sanctuary state. Minors, no need to get permission from your parents, not a problem. Abortion up to including 9 months, no problem, not in New Jersey. Murphy calls us a beacon of light. We are a beacon of darkness, unfortunately, in New Jersey. We have great conservatives, we have great Christians in New Jersey, and we are making a difference, by the way. Now he has weaponized, if you didn't know this, he's weaponized our Attorney General's office. They are coming after the crisis pregnancy centers. They started a strike force to go after the crisis pregnancy centers. They put out a consumer alert that they're having deceptive practices. They're also going after the sidewalk advocates. Go to the next slide, please. So back in 2012, I started the first 40 Days for Life. When I started it, there was only 3 people that showed up and helped me. 6 years later, this is how good God is. When you step out in faith, God will show up. He is my rear guard. 6 years later, we closed that abortion mill. We saved many babies. Next slide. I did slides for visuals because visuals are very powerful. 6 years later, we would close that abortion mill, and now we're over in Galloway. I have young, old, I have everybody that shows up. Next slide. Abortion is a human rights violation. Why do I have this up there? Because in 2021, Governor Murphy wanted to put through a bill, the Reproductive Freedom Act. I don't really need these papers. I know it all by heart anyway. He wanted to push through the Reproductive Freedom Act, which would kill babies 9 months and past, take away the conscience calls for doctors, and do a lot worse, heinous things. So we got wind of it, and we started protesting outside of Vincent Mazzio's office, who was a Democrat in Linwood. We showed up on the sidewalk with over 100 people. We had pastors, we had priests, we had everybody out there. He would never meet with me. There was always an excuse. I went to school with Vince. He would always give me an excuse. So, next slide. Every Sunday after church, my pastor, priest, would tell people, go out to the market. Not the priests, but the pastors. Go out to the market. Some of the priests did come out. In the end, it doesn't matter who comes out. What matters is we have to stand for what's right in this nation. Do we recognize evil anymore? Does this nation recognize evil anymore? Our kids will never recognize it unless we recognize it. And when you stand out there on the line, you're changing a culture. Your kids are seeing you out there. And they want to and we educated people. We gave out flyers. We helped people to know what was going on in New Jersey. And guess what? Mazzio lost that election. I think one of the things you need to understand is, I just heard that Governor Shapiro in your state, after 30 years of giving crisis pregnancy centers money, has decided not to. Okay, that just happened. But if you look up online what they say, they'll say anti-abortion. It's always in the language. Look at the language. Why do they do that? Because they teach our kids that abortion is healthcare. Abortion is not healthcare. Abortion is the termination of a life, an expulsion, the killing, the murdering of a child. That's what abortion is. But they'll tell you it's healthcare. So when they put words in like anti-abortion, they're doing it on purpose to confuse women, to confuse our youth. The next slide, please. So we stood out there more. Go ahead, next slide. Okay, so for the last 4 years, I've been doing something called The Last Stand at my church. Pastor Kevin is there. Senator Durr, recognize him? Senator Palestino, who we helped get into office. When I have these events, they're amazing because I have people come from all over. As you know, we have the parental rights crisis also in our state, just like you do. We have to stand, and we have to get people moving. So I tried to get people to run for the school board, and people signed up, but then yet nobody was going to do it. Oh, that's horrible, we got to do something. And then they don't do anything. Oh my gosh, we really got to do something for our kids. And then they don't do anything. I'm going to tell you something right now. You don't have a lot of time left. You have to start doing something. Whether you're knocking on doors, whether you're standing out on the corner giving out flyers to tell your kids what really is happening in this nation, because we're losing this country. We're losing it. So, I have to run for school board now to get women to run, but they're running with me. Next slide. So here we are with Senator Durr, my pastor. We went to see Congressman Van Drew. So Congressman Van Drew, I don't know if any of you remember, he used to be a Democrat. Okay. So when they went to impeach Trump, he would not go along with it, thank God. And he switched parties. But he was still pro-choice. We would see articles, he was pro-choice, you know. So finally I went to see him last year, October the 22nd, to be exact. And not only did I do a presentation, I showed him an abortion video, which we use as a tool. All 3 trimesters of abortion did he see. His chief of staff was crying, and he was beside himself. He made it a point to tell me, you know what, Ethel, when I go to Washington, it's so evil. I said, I guess it is. The blood is crying out. God has had enough of us. Well, he made a video for me for The Last Stand. So I'd like you to see it real quick because it's a game changer. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Americans, and South Jerseyans, today I address you with a sense of urgency and a deep commitment to the sanctity of life. Our nation, our beloved South Jersey, finds itself at a critical juncture where the protection of innocent lives must be a priority. We stand in the face of an administration that has disregard for the fundamental value of life. But Americans and South Jerseyans, we have the power to make a difference. We must hold steadfast to the belief that every life, from conception to natural end, is deserving of our protection, our love, and our care. It is our duty to stand up for the voiceless, the vulnerable, and those who cannot defend themselves. In our pursuit of a brighter future, let us never lose sight of the power of hope. We must hold on to the belief that change is possible, that we can foster a society where life is cherished and protected. May our voices be heard, may our actions inspire, and may our pursuit of life continue to be a guiding light in the face of this challenging and consequential time. God bless South Jersey, and God bless our United States of America.
So yes, that was a game changer for me, and I was grateful that he sent it to me. You can go to the next slide. Okay, so I had to put President Trump up here. This is a man who has endured so much before he even became the president that we have to understand that not only does he need our prayers, we have to learn from this man. This is a man that will never give up, not for this country. And he knows that we're losing this country. That's why they're after him. That's why they're doing what they're doing. Have you heard about what happened to Mark Halk in Pennsylvania? Any of you? That the SWAT team with 15 cars showed up on his front lawn. Why? Because he stood in front of abortion mills to save babies. His kids were crying, 7 kids. His kids were crying. They took him out in handcuffs. He said that he never felt closer to Christ Jesus than that moment when he was handcuffed and going to jail. Because he knows a very good friend of mine. So guess what happened after that? He won in the court case. And now he's running for congressman. That's my kind of man. That's a God of him. So you all need to be voting for him and getting everybody to vote for him. This is bigger than life. This is coming together with the attacks on the babies in the womb, your children. Your rights are being violated. Your rights are being trampled on. They're passing more bills every time you turn around. In New Jersey, they're getting ready to pass a bill so that whatever you do, whether you're out there on the sidewalk or you're in the crisis pregnancy center, it's going to become a hate crime. Why is that going to happen? Because they're going to put it under civil rights. We don't understand exactly how they're going to do it, but they are coming for us. So I already have a target on my back. I may be in jail next year. Just everybody pray for me. And guess what? I don't care. Cowards are not getting into heaven. So, next slide. Then I looked at his face and I was like, this guy's great. I was, look at him. Look at him. He's not backing down. And this is how we need to be for our country, for our children. But if we do not put God first, we're not winning this battle. I'm going to tell you right now. All right, so next one. Oh, and I also want to say about Donald Trump, he reminds me of our forefathers. We know that 58, 56 men signed the Declaration of Independence, one of the greatest documents ever penned, right? Okay, it starts with life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Life. And by the way, euthanasia is big too. So they want to get you at every age. All right, so anyway, when I think about President Trump, I think of him being like the forefathers because as soon as they signed that document, they knew right away that they were traitors and they were going to be hunted down by the British. They knew that. But they had a bigger, obviously, ideal than most men and women. They believed that God was in charge. If you read the document, there's 2 times in the beginning and 2 times at the end where it talks about God. Providence. They trusted in it. These are men that gave up their lives and their honor, their fortunes for what was right. And that's where we have to be willing to do. Consider the cost. Because we're losing it one way or the other. Okay, so the Battle of the Bulge. If anybody knows about the Battle of the Bulge, it was the last major German offensive campaign on the Western Front during World War II. Hitler believed if he attacked, he could divide the Allied forces. The British and the Americans and kill them off if he wanted to divide and conquer. And he would divide America and the British, and he would kill them. First of all, I want to go to the next slide. This was a newspaper back in December of 1944, right before Christmas. Ike Eisenhower really thought we were going to lose that war because we weren't doing too good. Next slide. This is General Patton. He is an amazing general. An amazing general. He's a little rough around the edges. He curses. And he says things that get him in trouble, sort of like President Trump. Right? So, one thing about him, though, is he had a lifelong belief that in any moment of danger, whether it was a violent engagement with the enemy on the battlefield or a moment of personal danger, that the Lord would protect him. In countless journal entries and personal letters and conversations, he unfailingly spoke of putting his destiny in the hands of God, which is that's what we all need to do. He turned to Chaplain O'Neill and he asked him to write a prayer. That prayer wasn't just for the officers. That was for the guys in the foxholes, these young men, because he wanted them all saying the same prayer. Then something amazing happened. General Patton went to a cathedral, big cathedral, and he got down and he prayed. It was a Catholic church. And it sort of sounded something like this. Sir, this is Patton talking. The last 14 days have been straight hell. Rain, snow, more rain, sleet, snow. And I'm beginning to wonder what's going on in your headquarters. Whose side are you on anyway? He said, I want to annihilate the Germans, the godless Hitler, he said. Of course, he told his case to God, and I'm paraphrasing. He told him how the weather was so bad it was preventing him from getting his tanks through the mud, to fly his airplanes in to attack and bomb, how their young American men were being slaughtered and dying on the field, and how many of them were dying of even frostbite. And he was a little sick of it, frankly. He said, I just need you to make your mind up. Give me 4 days of good weather. I just need 4 days, and I'll give you as many krauts as possible. So what happened the next day? The sun came out. For 3 days, the sun came out. We won that war, by the way, the Battle of the Bulge. So on December the 27th, he went back to that church, this time to give thanks. It sounded something like this. This time, he said, Sir, this is Patton again, and I beg to report complete progress. Sir, it seemed to me that you have been a little bit much better informed about the situation than I was. Because it was that awful weather that I cursed so much that made it possible for the German army to commit suicide. That, sir, was a brilliant military move, and I bow humbly to your supreme military genius. You see, the Holy Spirit has put it on my heart as somewhat as much of a difficult task it has been for the great general to fight his foe. It seemed like everything that could go wrong would go wrong. Everything did go wrong. They were much better equipped. They were much better prepared to win this battle. The same appears to be in America, in the pro-life movement, in the pro-God movement, in the patriot movement. They seem much better prepared. Not just in New Jersey or Pennsylvania, but across this nation. Our government is weaponizing our DOJ and FBI against us. They are assaulting our schools. They are going after our children, our parental rights. He has weaponized the Attorney General's office. We have gangs that go out and they can break into places and they don't even get arrested. Soon, hate speech, though, however, is coming for the American. I would say to you right now, none of this is happenstance. This has all been planned. This will continue. President Abraham got it right when he says, America will never be destroyed from the outside. It will lose, if we lose our freedoms, it will be because we destroyed ourselves from within. So I will say to you now, and I'm going to ask every single one of you, it is time to get activated. I don't care if you make phone calls. You need to do more because we're losing this nation. So, I will ask you now, who at each table feels like they can be a leader in their district or their area? Stand up and consider the cost. Stand up. How many of you I'm grateful, and I'm grateful, and the Tea Party is grateful. Wait, keep standing. How many of you are grandparents and parents and love your children? How many stand up? How many of you love this nation? Stand. I want everybody to stand up. How many of you are willing to fight the good fight for your children? Stand up. Now I want you to look around. I want you to look around because you are the army of God. You are called for such a time as this. You are the heroes of today. You're the leaders of today, and you are the heroes of tomorrow. Your children need you. They will have no future. They will be slaves. So it is time. There's no more going to sleep at night and pretending that this isn't happening. It is time to wake up and do something because God Almighty will be with us and we will have victory. Hallelujah! All right, go to the next slide. Next slide. If you don't mind, I have a song that I bought. I hope you guys can just hear it real quick. It's about America. Can we play it? Oh, get a magnet on your car. Get a magnet on your car.
I think we have a technical difficulty. Can you tell them the song, though? I think we're familiar with it. You agree with one, right?
God bless America. God bless the USA.
God bless the USA.
Oh,
There it goes.
We know the song, folks. So thank you very much. Let's give that ball a round of applause. Remember they used to say you have a friend in Pennsylvania, we have friends in New Jersey, right? And they both Senator Durham Nassau. All right, so donations, folks, donations here. We need to pay for this meeting. So as you can see, it's right there in black and white, it's circled in red. We do have a coffee sponsor for this month, but in regards to the coffee sponsor, so what we are doing is we're trying to get our coffee sponsor in advance. If you sit with the same people every month, what we're asking is look at the people you sit with every month. That table could be a sponsor, okay? It's $120 or $125. But if there's 8 people at your table, if you break it down to $20 each, just see me at the break or go see Ty or Isabel and say, hey, our table would like to be a sponsor, meaning that the 8 of you or the 7 of you, whoever it might be, will contribute the money. We're going to go to our break now, so ladies and gentlemen, please remember to see Tina at the break. We have another
Jim.
drawing and a couple quick announcements.
We have the 50 gun raffle here now. Melissa, call Melissa. Gun raffle. All right, we sold 100 tickets and we're drawing that tonight. Steve Schellinger. Okay. Jim, back to you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you take a look at the screen right here, we have classes starting on different subjects, the biblical citizenship in modern America, the location, everything, all your information is listed right here.
Folks, if you could just give us just 5 more minutes, please.
Okay, if you're going to get up, please go quietly so that we can finish the meeting. conversation so we can finish the meeting.
Okay, our next Second Amendment meeting is going to be Thursday night, September 14th. The doors open at 6:30, the meeting starts at 7, and the location is in Lehigh Valley Sporting Clays. You don't have to be a member to come, just show up. It's very interesting, you'll learn a lot. Again, that's Thursday, September 14th. Thank you. Berks County Patriots, next meeting is Thursday, September 21st. General meetings are the third Thursday of the month. The doors open at 5. Meetings 6:30. They have a new location, the Temple Fire Company Ballroom in Kutztown Road in Temple, PA. You can find them at www.berkscountypatriots.org.
It's on the north side of Reading.
Thank you. The north side of Reading. Conservative Activist Boot Camp, Saturday, October 7th, Midway Diner. You don't know where the Midway Diner is? It's down in Bethel, Pennsylvania. Camp Freedom Gun Fest. Now this is a lot of fun. There's only 300 tickets available. We have approximately 1 in 4 chance of winning, and you go home with a gun. You can see us, or you can contact the Lehigh Valley Sporting Clays, talk to Bill Bockenberg or anybody up there. It's a great event.
Also, Senator Durr would like to let you know his website is edthetruckdriver.com. edthetruckdriver.com. Okay? Hopefully you'll consider giving him a donation, help him win. Another slide coming up.
Our next monthly meeting will be Thursday, October 5th. Meeting location will be right here, Fearless Fire Company. It's going to be an important meeting, and we will let you know who the guest speakers are going to be.
We actually have them here. So when Mary Ann, Annette, and I went down to New Jersey, we met Ethel and also Senator Durr. We met Reverend Gregory Quinlan, yes. So he's agreed to come. And also we have Representative Dave Zimmer. He was the one that did not vote for Act 77. They're both dynamic speakers. So they're more or less confirmed for next month. We did the drawings. Closing remarks, as all of our speakers said, there's a saying, there's 10 magic words. If it is to be, it is up to me. Folks, go out there and work for our candidates and work for our country. Pray for Donald Trump. And remember, let's make America great here in the Lehigh Valley. God bless you all. Thank you for coming out. Lehigh Valley Tea Party. Bring someone next month.
All right. Good evening, everybody. So, can we get back to our seats? So, I think you all know me. My name is Tom Carroll. I served as the chair of the Lehigh Valley Tea Party for about 5.5 years. But we got a lot ahead of us. We accomplished a great deal. Thank Tom Campione. I hope he's still here, but thank you, Tom, for coming tonight. Tom was so much important to get us to where we were, and we have been successful, but we have just begun to fight, and we have to get this going. So I'm going to introduce our next speaker, but before I do, I just wanted to say a couple words real quick. One, I believe we have a couple elected representatives here. If you are elected on the school board, Linda Stubitz, I think you were here. Anybody who's here that is elected, please stand up. Or I guess Linda left, okay. We also have some candidates running for office. We're not going to have time to go through everybody. You've heard from them before. You're going to hear from them again. So if you're running for office, school board, county council, or any other position, please stand up now. We got people running for school board, county council, and also city council in Bethlehem. So congratulations for doing that. We need your good work. We need everyone in this room to support those candidates who we want to get elected. All right, I just wanted to give you guys a real quick update on, Bill Bockenberg and myself have been for 2 years now coming in front of you, telling you what's going on with the warfare that we are facing with these courts and the cases that we have. So we filed a tremendously large case against the Delaware County officials with a whistleblower, and that case was told to be dismissed. It is not dismissed. We have that on appeal. We are filing a brief with the court, so that is still alive. That evidence defends all of the people who said the election was stolen. And we are fighting to keep that case alive. We also represent Fulton County, Pennsylvania. I don't know if you've seen that story in the news, but the Fulton County Commissioners followed their obligations under the law, and they had their machines forensically evaluated, and through a world-renowned expert, it was determined that those machines connect internationally and have a malicious Python script which brings data in and out of the machines. And that evidence alone says that Dominion voting machines were corrupted across this nation. And instead of the court saying, wait a minute, let's listen to this evidence, the court has attacked me and my fellow lawyers for filing these things, and also the commissioners themselves. They found them in contempt of court for doing their job. They found me in contempt for representing them, and they've ordered me to pay $700,000 in legal bills to the Dominion lawyers. But we were in front of the Supreme Court last week because they still have a question of who gets these machines, right? The Supreme Court said they get to take the machines that Fulton County paid for, not leased, but paid for, owned, and they get to take them into escrow until we deal with the rest of the cases. Because when we saw that these Fulton County machines were connecting internationally, the Fulton County Commissioners filed a breach of contract case against Dominion. Those very brave commissioners in Fulton County, Pennsylvania deserve our thanks because they revealed the truth. And now they're under attack, and the lawyers that filed it are under attack as well. By the time we ended the hearing last week, just so you know how corrupt this court is, I had fallen and broken a rib, and I had an infection, and I was under doctor's cares and doctor's orders, and I contacted the court and said I cannot make a hearing because, one, they had prescribed me a narcotic pain medication, which I didn't want to take, but I reluctantly took it because the pain was severe enough. And the court said, no, you must be here. So my question to the court was, why do you want me to break Pennsylvania law and drive under the influence of our narcotic to get to court? Oh, you're right, Mr. Carroll, we'll put you on a video hearing. I said, Your Honor, I'm under the influence of prescribed medication, and my clients deserve an attorney who is fully cognizant of what's going on. You are, and you will be there, and that this is the kind of corruption that's coming out of our courts. But what we did in the end was we filed, because we got enough information out from the witnesses, that Dominion Voting Systems had in financial interest with the company that they're trying to put the machines with. And when all these news networks asked me, what's your comment about your bad behavior in court and what the court said, I said, my comment is, why don't you explain why nobody's asking why these machines are corrupted? Nobody's asking why the machines connected internationally. Ask that question. They won't report it, because if they did, their whole narrative falls apart. So we are fighting the battle. We need your prayers, we need your financial support, we need your help. So with regard to that, then I'm here to introduce Scott Pressler. And you may, many of you know him. I remember, I forget, more than 3 years ago, I met him for the first time. And we brought him up here in March of 2020. We were all very naive in March of 2020. We were looking forward to getting President Trump reelected. We were looking at the best economy in world history. We were looking at so many things going on in this country that were so great. And Scott came that night and he was sick. And he even jokingly said, don't worry, I don't have that COVID. We didn't even really know what COVID was. It was only a few weeks later that they locked us down. And we all know the history of what's happened in the world since. But what we've seen from Scott is he has fought the battle for the last 3 years in so many different ways. So he's here today to encourage us and to share his story and to get us to win back our nation. So thank you, Scott, for coming up tonight.
Hey y'all. Do y'all say y'all? What do they say over there? They say something weird.
Yeah.
Youth. There we go. Well, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Scott Pressler. I'm the son of a retired Navy captain. I am that long-haired Eagle Scout. And in 2021, I was humbled to receive the Ronald Reagan Award for Freedom at CPAC. But how did I get started? I actually want to thank President Obama. I'm serious. The night that he was reelected in 2012, I created my Twitter account because I was mad. But I wasn't just mad at Obama. I was mad at myself. I said, Scott, where were you knocking on doors? Where were you registering voters? Where were you getting out the vote? And the answer is that I was a part of the problem because I wasn't the solution. I wasn't helping. And so the reason why I kind of stick out a little bit from you guys, I'm wearing my cowboy boots here in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, because my first job was moving to Texas and electing Governor Greg Abbott. I never wanted Hillary Clinton to set foot in that White House ever again. And with your help, Pennsylvania delivered electing Donald J. Trump as 45th President of the United States of America! And my life changed forever in 2019. Do you guys remember when President Trump, he, kind of had some choice words talking about the city of Baltimore, Maryland? Well, I'm the guy that went into the city organizing a cleanup, and with 200 volunteers on a Monday, we picked up 12 tons of trash in 12 hours in one single day, in the most dangerous streets of America. I went home to my mom, so excited. I was like, Mom, I'm really good at picking up trash. Her heart swelled with admiration. But more importantly, I thought to myself, wait a second. I don't need the government to solve our problems. We need concerned citizens coming together, and we can do the job the government isn't doing. And I thought even larger, why don't we do this everywhere across the country? Why limit it to Baltimore? So we did. We went to Atlanta, Austin, Baltimore, Chicago, Denver, Duquesne, Detroit, Houston, Kenosha, Los Angeles, Miami, Milwaukee, Nashville, Portland, Pittsburgh, Philly, Salem! I was protesting for picking up trash. And yes, this is the most liberal city in America. I was protested in San Francisco, California. Bless their hearts. Bless them. Do you guys know what that means? Yes. It's a real nice southern way of saying, you're dumb as heck. And so, 2020 was soul-crushing, is the only way that I can put it. And 2022 wasn't the red tsunami we thought it was going to be. Everybody predicted, we're going to own this. The economy is terrible. Joe Biden is sleeping on the beach in Delaware every single weekend. We thought that 2022 was going to be owned by the Republican Party. And that simply wasn't the reality. And we lost the Senate seat here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And I know this is a contentious issue, so I kind of want you guys to hold your tomatoes until the end and hear me out. But in January of this year, I launched an organization called Early Vote Action, earlyvoteaction.com. I'm focused on 5 states going into 2024. Arizona, Nevada, North Carolina, Wisconsin, and... No. Yes. Yes. Of course, Pennsylvania. And it's my contention that, guys, if we wait to vote on one day in November 2024, then Joe Biden has already won. The Democrats have already won the election. So let's go through it. Let's talk about reasons why I'm promoting an all-of-the-above approach to voting and how we're going to use the strategy to begin by winning the Supreme Court race this year in 2023. Number 1, do you guys know who Kari Lake is? Yes. Who is Kari Lake? What happened to Kari Lake on election day in November 2022. So what I'm hearing from you guys is we told the Democrats where we were throwing the football. We told them we as Republicans, as conservatives, are all waiting to vote, the majority of us, on one day. And so what happens? Mail-in voting is fine. Early in-person voting is fine. But on election day, when our people vote, coincidentally, 60% of machines go down, have errors on what day? Thousands of Republicans are disenfranchised. They can't stand in line for 4 hours. They gotta drop their kids off. Their dad's going to work. Their mom's taking care of business. And so, Carrie Lake would be governor today. Abe Hominy would be attorney general. And Blake Masters would be senator, had we engaged in all of the above approach to voting. Now, I listen to you guys. I really do. I shut my trap, I open my ears, and the number one thing I hear from you is you say, Scott, I want one day, one vote, one paper ballot. And I get that, I respect that. But let's take this close to home for a second. Luzerne County, Pennsylvania, November 2022. Does anybody know what happened on election day? They ran out of paper ballots on election day. Harris County, Texas, most populous county in the state of Texas, ran out of paper ballots on what day? Election day. Lena Hidalgo was reelected. Republicans were disenfranchised because they were told, come back later. Do you think Republicans came back later? Especially when it's raining, when there's precipitation? No. Number two, do you guys know who John Fetterman is? Hey, listen. We're gonna be classy.
No.
Bless his heart.
No.
I'm being kind. Do you know what happened the day before the first and only debate between Dr. Oz and John Fetterman? The day before the debate, 500,000 Pennsylvanians already voted, already cast their votes. And it gets worse. 4 out of 5 of those voters were registered. Do the math. If I'm a Democratic operative and I see those numbers, I'm happy as a clam. Because I'm going, oh my gosh, this is great. I have 400,000 fewer people to reach out to. That I can spend all of my time talking to people that haven't voted. And I'm even happier because those Republicans, they're all waiting to vote on election day. So those Republicans have no time and no money, while we have 50 days of early voting. 50 days, 50, of mail-in voting. So we got all the time and money in the world. And so it's my argument that we must engage in all of the above approach to voting, especially here in PA. And one thing that people don't know is you can vote. I know it's semantics and it's voting by mail, but it is early in person, that you're going in person to your elections office, casting a mail-in ballot. But it's not going into a drop box. It's not going to the postman, who we all know are the union worker Democrats, but do it early in person. Number 3, there's a psychological effect to early voting. Let's talk about Florida for a second. Did you know in 2022, in this gubernatorial election that we just had, we, for the first time in history, won early in-person plus mail-in voting in the state of Florida, statewide. That has never happened in history. That we outworked the Democrats. We beat the Democrats. And more importantly, we beat them in West Palm Beach. We beat them in Miami-Dade. We beat them in Clearwater, Pinellas County. We beat them in Jacksonville, Duval. We beat them in Seminole County. We were winning in blue counties that we never should have won in. And so what I mean by the psychological effect is when people are seeing, for example, that Republicans were leading in Miami-Dade, majority-minority district, it's my contention that people who may think their vote doesn't count, who may think that they don't matter, they were inspired by those numbers because they thought in their heads they were given proof that yes, we can win. Yes, we can do this. And do you remember in 2016, Hillary Clinton, they were saying, Madame President. They already put out that Newsweek thing of her saying Madame President. Everybody was saying that she was going to win because she had an insurmountable lead in Florida and Ohio in early voting, right? Now imagine, what if I'm a guy living in Philly and I'm a Republican, and I'm in a blue city and a blue district and a quote-unquote blue state. If I see that Hillary Clinton has an insurmountable early vote lead, do you think that I'm going to be inspired to vote in the November election? I'm going to have it in my head, especially if I'm one of those low propensity voters. I'm going to think to myself, what's the point? Why should I vote? They already have 400,000 votes banked in the bank. And so, my contention is let's use the psychological effect of early voting to show those voters that we can win. And that's going to inspire people in Connecticut, and Rhode Island, and Washington, and Oregon, and California, and all of the blue states that people have felt so dejected. We are going to encourage them by showing them that we can win. Next, this one also hits home for you guys. Snow. In Nevada, this is going to blow you away. In Nevada, on election day, in Washoe County and Reno, because I don't know why, but our people are Republicans, we like to live in the mountains, we're mountain folk, I don't know why. But it snowed on election day. Adam Laxalt, running for Senate, lost by 8,000 votes. It gets worse. I want you guys to tell me an audible number. How many registered Republicans in Nevada do you think stayed home and didn't vote on election day in November 2022? Give me a number. More. 150,000 registered Nevada Republicans, because they do voter registration by data, by party. I have that data. We know that 150,000 Republicans didn't vote. And it's worse. Do you know why it's worse? Because Nevada is a universal mail-in state where every eligible voter receives a ballot. That means 150,000 Republicans received a ballot, didn't open it, didn't fill it out, didn't walk 10 feet to their mailbox, and worse, it didn't mean that a Republican organizer even knocked on their door to ask for their vote, to help them put it in the mailbox, to lock in their vote. It gets worse. Oregon. You probably think of Oregon, oh, those left coast liberals, those commies. Get this. In 2022, Christine Drazan was running for governor. She's a Republican candidate, right? She lost in 2022 by 66,000 votes. I want you guys to tell me an audible number of how many registered Oregonian Republicans you think stayed home and didn't vote in November 2022. Give me a number! Okay, you did it right. This gentleman went way too high, way too fast. Look, babe, you start small, and then you go. 126,000 Oregonian Republicans didn't vote in November 2022. We could, right now, have a Republican governor in Oregon. Shame. Shame on us. And as Senator Durst said, shame on the Republicans in Bergen County that didn't vote, that we could have Chatterelli and we wouldn't have Democratic Governor Murphy in the state of New Jersey right now. So this isn't, well, yes, this is meant to shame, but this is also meant to encourage. What is the moral of what I'm saying to you? We have the votes. We have the votes. But the Democrats believe in the power of the vote. Our people don't. They believe their vote doesn't count. They believe their vote doesn't matter. So we have 14 months to try to empower and change and retrain people's brains to make them believe that they can actually win in 2024. Football. I I know this sounds stupid. Bear with me. Louisiana has a gubernatorial election this year. Jeff Landry is running for governor. He's the current attorney general. Their general primary is on October 14th, which is a Saturday. They have elections on Saturdays. Did you know that LSU is playing Auburn at Tiger Stadium on Election Day on Saturday, October 14th? Do you think it's a very real possibility that some people may be real hyped up for the football game, that they don't go and vote in the election for Jeff Landry? Yes. If Jeff Landry doesn't win the majority of the vote on October 14th, it goes to a runoff on Saturday, November 18th. Do you know what happens on that day? Football. LSU is playing Georgia State at Tiger Stadium. Is it a possibility that we lose the governorship by a small margin because people didn't do an absentee ballot, didn't vote early in person, didn't lock in their vote? Yes, it is. That's why, look, I just want you guys to vote. You don't have to do a mail-in ballot if you don't want to, but please, my goal is to make sure 2022 never happens again. I don't want to see what happened to Carrie Lake, which is criminal, be a repeat in 2024, that a water pipe breaks, or the electricity goes down, or the machines have errors. We must lock in every single gosh darn vote to make Joe Biden a one-term president. I mentioned let's start with this year's election just so we can have a national perspective, and I'll bring it back to Pennsylvania. What are the elections that are happening this year that while we're focusing on the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, you can make sure that you're using all of your networks to help the entire country? Kentucky, Daniel Cameron is running for governor. We currently have a Democrat governor in Kentucky. Mitch McConnell, bless his heart, I wish no ill will. He's having some health concerns. If for some reason he retires, he is forced to retire, the Democrat governor is the one that will appoint a replacement. According to state law, he's supposed to replace it with a Republican. Andy Beshear has already stated publicly he will not follow the law. This is one of the most consequential elections happening this November, and nobody's talking about Kentucky. Nobody's talking about the governorship. I mentioned Louisiana with Jeff Landry. Mississippi, Tate Reeves needs to hold the governorship. New Jersey, you do everything in your power to help elect Senator Durr, and you help make sure that we take 7 seats in the General Assembly, we take 6 state Senate seats, and Governor Murphy will not be able to pass any legislation in New Jersey. And it gets better. And I know this is blinking, so just cut me off if you need me to. Virginia. I live in Virginia. Governor Glenn Youngkin was elected in 2021. We were able to flip the governorship in the House of Delegates. This year in my state, in Virginia, if we pick up 2 state Senate seats, just 2, we as Republicans will control the entire legislature. And more importantly, think about this, the implications nationally. People are going to move to Virginia. We're going to be able to legislate conservatively on day 1 in 2024. And you know what it means? It means Virginia will be in play to help elect a Republican president in 2024. So guys, whatever you can do, please, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, New Jersey, Virginia, and so, I'm here and I'm spending the next month of my life traveling across the entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania because we're here for one reason. And besides your local elections, I know that's important, but the ultimate thing that we need to focus on is electing Judge Carolyn Carluccio to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. And I'm going to scare the heck out of you guys for a second, but I want you to hear me loudly, I want you to hear me clearly. if we are unable to win this Pennsylvania Supreme Court seat electing Judge Carolyn Carluccio, if we don't win, we as Republicans will be unable to win back the Supreme Court until 2035. 2035. Now, what does the Supreme Court rule on? Mail-in ballots, election integrity, mask wearing, COVID regulations, the powers of the governor, like Wolf that shut down the state. This election is consequential in your state. We must support Megan Martin for the Commonwealth Court. We must support Judge Carolyn Carluccio. We must support our Philly mayor candidate. And in Pittsburgh, we must support Joe Rocky for county executive. That's why I'm here in your state. And I'll take, if it's okay, very briefly, if anybody has any questions, concerns, whatever, now's the time. Whatever's on your mind, I'm happy to answer.
If you will raise your hand, I'll hand you a microphone if you're not within Scott. I want to reiterate, as you're looking for the first question, Carolyn Carluccio I've known for 35 years, and she wasn't the candidate that most of us supported in the election in the primary, but he's right. We cannot have her lose. We have to fully support her. I'll go over here to Al.
And please, just with respect to everybody's time and getting through questions, keep it a question.
This would be a question, Scott. Are you familiar with Win Again, the organization in Pennsylvania that's...
Yes, I am.
Want to talk about it a little bit?
Well, I mean, to my understanding, so I'm actually staying at Mike Milo's house, who's running for school board in Parkland School District, and that's the reason why I'm here, because get this, 6 of the 9 school board seats are up for election this November. We in Parkland School Board can take over in one cycle the entire school board election. That would be consequential for Lehigh Valley, for Allentown. So, when again, I saw one of their packets, you know what they're doing? Like you guys, and I want to give you guys a shout out too. I have to say, I talk all over the country, I talk to groups, I talk to lunch bunches, you name it. I want to thank you guys for actually putting in the work. I want to thank you guys for doing the door knocking. I want to thank you guys for actually growing this chapter. And I was really impressed to see how many new voices are here tonight, so thank you for the work you're doing. Now what they have is they have this packet that includes something in there about talking about the all of the above approach to voting. It includes a Pennsylvania mail-in ballot, and it also includes the literature for all of the local candidates that are running. And Winagain.org, so please support this organization. And he's right that this is the work that we have to do of reaching out to those low propensity Republicans that didn't vote in 2022, that we get them out and last. Well, this is in my head, because otherwise the John Fetterman will go away. In 2021, you guys are thinking to yourself, can we win? After 2020, the debacle, we elected Kevin Brobson to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court a year after we lost in 2020. So the moral of the story is I want you to know it is possible, it is doable, and we can win. Next question.
Scott, we'll have time for one last question.
Okay, so I agree with the Winnigan and mailing your ballot, and I want to campaign for that in my area. So my concern is, which I'll do all that, but my concern is how do we know it's going to be a fair election, because I don't have a lot of confidence in the election.
Well, let's, I want to play a game. Okay, I want everybody to close your eyes. How many of y'all care about election integrity? Raise your hand. Everybody, open your eyes, look around the room. It's everybody. Okay, now, I want you guys to close your eyes, and now, I want you to raise your hand if you, in 2022, served as an election day worker inside of your polling location. Raise your hands. Now everybody look around the room. This is good. However, there is a discrepancy. And what I mean by that is, look, I'm not here to point the finger, but I hear from people all the time, they say, Scott, our elections are not secure, and they're gonna cheat, whatever, and I say to them, okay, great. Will you sign up as an election day worker? Oh no, I'm not gonna do that. It's like, y'all, if you want fair and free elections, I need you guys to put in the work. Because here's what the ultimate goal of the Democrats is. They're smart, they're sneaky. You know what they're saying? They're saying we need to move to universal mail-in ballots because we don't have enough people to work the polls. We don't have enough bodies, and in part they're right. So their plan is by us not participating, they're gonna continue to push for more mail-in ballots because we aren't showing up. We aren't doing our job. So please, for the love of all, please sign up as an election day worker to work in the polls this November. So if there are shenanigans, we can catch them, we can call the lawyers, we can report it, and we can be there for the 50 days of mail-in and early in-person voting. With that being said, guys, thank you for being here. Thank you.
This year, and we make Joe Biden a one-term president.
Ladies and gentlemen, on your feet for Scott Preston. Come on, guys. Scott, very good. Okay, I have one more presenter here. We promised him a couple minutes or a minute. Joseph?
If you like me, you might give me 2 minutes.
Okay, a minute and a half.
You get 60 seconds, that's it.
I'll take it. Put it on the countdown. My neighbors of Lehigh Valley, I come to you urgently. Okay, I was in my house getting out of work, and the Holy Spirit told me to come to Lehigh Valley. I have a word of God here for you today. It's coming. He is coming. The winning is coming. We are going to be on fire. And I'm going to start with this. I step foot today in the greatest state of Pennsylvania. I am currently residing in the fourth largest city in this state. I'm actually practicing today. This is my first time around. As you can see, I'm a little nervous. Can you see me? You think I'm doing it right? Think you can add an extra 30 seconds for giving me a shot? After Scott Presler, it's kind of hard to beat, okay?